Hello, hello, welcome again to this, to episode 37 of an ongoing series where I attempt to really sound like I know what I'm talking about and somehow hoodwink quite a few people, it turns out, into buying my stuff or just paying attention to what I say. My name's Ryan, or Comrade Balls, as you can see beneath my face. This is Behind the Screen, as you can see right here. Please feel free to ask questions about running Honest Path RPGs, writing content for them, etc. I'll answer anything I can, and try to point you towards the people who can answer those questions if I cannot. Now, I should take great pains, as always, to point out that I am a fan with the platform. I'm not paid by Honest Path to do this. All opinions, therefore, my own. Nothing that you see here, as far as I'm aware, will make it into official products. This season's current focus is the Frostlands of Fenric release for the Sluretian Vault that was like 10 weeks ago at this point. 12 weeks ago, because I had a week off. Which adds an Arctic continent to the Scarred Lands product line. Looking at one subclass for each of the core classes and then a couple of additional player races. I am disabled. I do experience muscle spasms, muscle twitches. It can lead to stuttering and slurred speech, although I have stuttered. I have a slight stutter and slurred speech anyway because of nerves, so apologies. I do also struggle with multiple trains of thought, so I will try to follow one to its logical conclusion before jumping onto another. So if you ask a question halfway through a rant, I will try to acknowledge it and then answer it in my own sweet time. That's really it. As usual, long-time viewers will know what's coming now, but hey, Monday meeting notes time. Monday meeting notes, if you are unaware, the perfect place to go for the weekly update for Onyx Path, for their kind of project updates. Sweet art like today. The blog, yesterday I guess, the blog post was headed by an incredible flight symbol for Scion Dragon. What is Scion Dragon, you may ask? Well, on Kickstarter right now, right this very moment, because I think we're a little over 2 weeks in, a little under 2 weeks in or something, you can back not only a book called Scion Dragon, but a book called Scion Masks of the Mythos, which adds both dragons and the Cthulhu mythos to the Scion game line. Not dragons as like antagonists, although I'm sure they're in the book. I have yet to have the funds to commit to the campaign, but dragons as in, hey, do you want a dragon as a sponsor instead of a god? You can do that. It's going really well. It funded in a little over an hour. 17 stretch goals have been achieved as of the Monday meeting notes. Wallpapers, companions, of course, ready-made characters, all of that kind of thing. Hey, Angel Wraith. It's definitely something worth checking out if you're interested in Scion, or if you're interested in either dragons or the great old ones. And Scion is of like curiosity to you. I fully intend to get on that train later. Probably, I will obviously kind of standard warning, if you're not based in America, it might be cheaper to get the print-on-demand versions later. But hey, both the premium books that the Kickstarters put out and the print-on-demand versions are both pretty good. So that's that. You get some sweet art of dragons, more mythos stuff. Not the next campaign, but one of the ones coming up is for Trinity Continuum Adventure, which adds the pulp genre to Trinity Continuum, the other kind of story path system that Onyx Path are doing a lot with at the minute. And to kind of promote that, rather than pulp magazine stories, black and white illustrations, which was done for the first edition, for the second edition, there will be a weekly serial radio drama for 6 weeks leading up to the Kickstarter. So there's some more information about that, including the cast on the Monday meeting notes. And then there's stuff about the Onyx Path Summit, which is coming up next week. Usually an in-person thing, but hey, what do you know? The world's not allowing that, so that's still happening. Don't worry if you have questions. Roundup of January's releases. Yeah. As well as a couple of sales, Kickstarter updates, where you can back products on Kickstarter, particularly if you're a big fan of Scarred Lands and didn't manage to support Dead Man's Rust. You can still pre-order that via BackerKit, I've had I backed it. I've had a flick through the text, and it looks like one heck of a sweet adventure with some great subclasses and player races included in appendix material. Also, if you just ever wanted like far too many stat blocks for elf NPCs, that is definitely the way forwards. Where do you sign up for Dragons? You click the Kickstarter link that I dropped, but as you are currently in the house with me, I can totally just point you towards the Kickstarter page later. Angel Wraith. Angel Wraith is my partner and incredibly supportive of my projects. Then there's things that were released for on the community content pages the last month. There are 2 products in the Solution Vault: the War Wagon, which I believe the War Wagon is by Scarred Lands and Onyx Path's very own Travis Legg. Yes, it is. Shout out to Travis. And the Pages of the Demigods, which I have no idea what it is about. I encountered it this morning when I... Also from Travis, a collection of Divine Servants. So, cool, Demigod stuff. And then some Scion stuff on the Storypath Nexus. Obviously, that does not include Storyteller's Vault or anything like that, because that is handled by White Wolf, I believe. That is exclusively for Solution Vault Storypath Nexus. I don't know if Canis Minor comes into that at any point. Those of you who are also interested in OWOD projects, Onyx Path finally got the okay from Paradox to pitch or repitch projects for Mage 20. So they've passed on some pitches, so hopefully something will happen for that, for people who are interested. Then obviously the usual links to podcasts, the Twitch schedule, actual plays that happened on the channel, all of that stuff is there as usual. Just keep scrolling down. Where is it? Nothing there. Being released this week, that's what I was going for. Esoterica of Mars, a source book for Cavaliers of Mars, which astoundingly I know nothing about. I know nothing about Cavaliers of Mars. I really should look into it. I believe it's... I'll say Rose Bailey, but I could be wrong about that. Obviously, the first part of the Tales of the Aeon Society for Trinity Continuum. Virtual Horror Convention. So last year, Gehenna Gaming ran a virtual horror convention, and they're doing another one this year. Mid-February, Onyx Path is going to be there. And then the standard project updates, timelines, etc. I don't believe there was any Scarred Lands updates. Just having a quick scan through. No Scarred Lands updates. Also today, 20th anniversary of Relics and Rituals for the Scarred Lands release. So some people are feeling old because they can remember that coming out. I personally can't. I was a bit too young. Well, I mean, I was 10, but I wasn't really into role-playing games at that point. Gasp, horror, shock, whatever. Cthulhu, no. Thank you. I appreciate the flattery. Flattery will get you everywhere. I'd love to know what I did to deserve that, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Or Cthulhu 0, I guess. Okay, I think that's all of that. The Kickstarter link's been dropped. Recap. So, yes, as you can see, this is People of the Snow for Scarred Lands, featuring one subclass for each of the core classes, and then 2 player races to be found in Fenrilic, much like certain player races can be found in particular areas. There's like I can't remember the name of the race, but or heritage, ancestry. I can't remember what they're calling it now. Catfolk of Termina. We're going to do some Geists and some Ursids. Geists being an undead player race, and Ursids being similar to the Manticora and the Ironborn, and the Slytherin, and the begins with double A. I can never remember its name. Being like a human-animal hybrid. Ursid will be bear people. Asathi, there we go. I remembered. If the chat delay catches up now, boy, am I going to look foolish. But so far we've done Path of Barbarian, but we've been going in alphabetical order. Last week, finished off Monk. I was very happy with the Monk. I thought we did some cool stuff, even if it did take 20 minutes to nail down the wording. Once per creature on your turn, or during ready attack action, on a successful melee attack, you may do one of the following. Which seems quite simple, but took 20 minutes to figure out. So if anyone sat through that last time, 2 weeks ago, or has watched the video on demand. I really appreciate that, and thank you for not leaving a horrible comment. Unlike a lot of other game systems, the D&D OGL, again, recap, the OGL is the Open Gaming License. It allows you to use the D&D 5e System Reference Document, or SRD, which is like a slimmed down version of the rules, to use as like the mechanical base for your own games. So Scarred Lands uses both the D&D 5e SRD, and there's also a Pathfinder version. I'm working specifically on the 5e version because that's what I'm more familiar with. Because it has more of a mechanical weight to it, you have to be very precise with wording, while also being concise enough that you don't kind of bore people to death halfway through a sentence. So it took a while to get, but I'm happy with where it ended up. Now, Paladins are weird. Older versions of... I can't speak for like the first edition of Scarred Lands. I don't know if there was a 4th edition version, but like the 3.5 edition version. But in older versions of D&D, Paladins swore oaths to gods, and that's where they got their power from. Paladins are a half-caster, by which I mean they get like half the spell levels of a full caster, is the like facetious answer. They are a mixture of hybrid class, in the Paladin's case the fighter, and spellcaster, in the Paladin's case the cleric. And they don't get the full levels 1 to 9 spell slots. They only go levels 1 through 5, and they get fewer slots, but they can do certain things with those slots that other classes can't. The other half caster being the ranger, which is the next one down the line, and they're more like a rogue druid hybrid. Paladins, obviously with Scarred Lands, one of the big hooks is the gods totally exist. We know that because they were in a war 150 years ago, or something similar, something along those lines. And not only do the gods exist, but the titans exist as well, being the gods' parents and primordial beings and all of that stuff. And even though the gods won, the titans totally not dead. Now, those of you who have picked up the Frostlands of Fenrilik supplement, again, on the Sluritian Vault, this won't be news to you, but for people who may only be familiar with Scarred Lands, or who may have only heard of Scarred Lands in passing and are like, oh, hey, isn't that the place where the gods are real and stuff? The divine war that destroyed Gelspad or changed Gelspad, I'm not going to say for the better or the worse, didn't really reach Fenrilik. Fenrilik being the roof of the world, the Arctic northern continent. It's hard to reach. It's something like 2 days travel, 2 weeks travel across the ocean from Albania or something along those lines. I could find the specific values. I have the PDF open, but I figured my searching through a PDF for slightly tangential information isn't the best thing. So, like, they're certainly aware of the gods, and there's definitely worship of beings. I want to get this right. The Eschek worship the Ushidani, which are like spirits. But the supplement specifically calls out that there are very few paladins on Fenrilik. Now, I've addressed this in the first line of the narrative, but one of the great changes that... Certainly I think it's a great change to kind of the underlying fiction of the class that 5th edition brought to the Paladin was that it's no longer... They still have divine magic, but they no longer swear like their oath to a deity. They swear to ideals or concepts or things. Now, you can sort of do that with the cleric as well, but it's more explicit with the Paladin. Just to give you examples. The Paladin's Sacred Oaths in the Scarred Lands Player's Guide, which, if you don't have it, very good book. Even if you're not planning on playing Scarred Lands, which you should, because it's a good setting. It's cool. It's like D&D, but 1980s heavy metal. The Scarred Lands Player's Guide is just cool because it adds loads of subclasses, loads of spells, and like tattoo magic and stuff. But the Paladin subclasses in the Player's Guide draw on the Knightly Orders of Curian, the Champion, the Adamantine Orders, and they're all about compassion, duty, honor, mercy, and Valor. And then an additional couple of extra like tenets based on which order you actually follow. Gold, iron, mithril, or silver. I realised that I never actually opened my document with my spells in it. Where did I put that? Bear with me 1 second. So I did this for the cleric as well, but I worked out in advance the, there we go, domain and oath spells. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with those spells still. What was I saying? Yes, so you swear oaths to concept, and a big part of this season, or like the entire shtick behind the season of Behind the Screen, is showing you how you can take the narrative of a subclass and put it into mechanical perspective. So the narrative for Paladins is really much more granular and in depth than other subclasses because they get the tenets. They swear an oath, and they have to abide by it, or they'll become an oathbreaker. Which gives you two kind of different ways to alter the narrative of the subclass. The first way is just the standard introduction to the subclass. Few paladins can be found on Fenrelake, but many of those who do travel the Frozen Wastes do so in answer to a call only they can hear. Those few paladins who swear the Oath of Illumination do so in other lands and believe in bringing the light of knowledge to the darkest, most ignorant corners of Skarn, the planet that all of this takes place on. Their oaths are frequently tested as they discover the people in those places do not want or need the gift they bring, causing many to question or abandon their vows. For those who possess the syncretization of their knowledge and local wisdom can be a potent combination. So that's every subclass I'm doing. Oh, by the way, the wizard is going to be a weather wizard. I just need to change the name. Every subclass has that. It's a little narrative introduction. And now the tenets. What are the tenets? You may be asking if you aren't familiar with this, or you are not asking yourself that, in which case I apologise. But the tenets are the strictures by which the paladin must obey the oath. Again, as ever, please ignore this name. That is not correct in any way, shape, or form. Tenets of Illumination. These are all placeholder from my own work creating subclasses for my Patreon. So we're going to address this first, and then name these, and then... Wait, did I do that? Ah, yes, I did that, didn't I? I believe I've done that already. I think I did that when I did the cleric thing. I did. Okay, that's fine. That's one less thing to worry about. So, a paladin who takes this oath has the tenets of Illumination. How... Right, this is Scarred Lands, right? How metal would it be to have them tattooed on their eyelids in like gold ink? I think that's pretty metal. Is there any way you could be more metal? Like eyelids and then the temple for light and knowledge. I think that's fine. I like it. Okay, so this is... I honestly wanted to get these done beforehand so I could just talk about them in retrospect, because I discovered when I was doing my Oath of the Arcane Aegis that I really struggle with tenets for some reason. But hey, guess who didn't have time in the past 2 weeks and has 2 thumbs? This person. So we're going to do this live. So we might be here a while. Oathbreakers get visible scars across their eyes? Heck yeah, they would. Really should do a Oathbreaker subclass myself. Anyway, Shield the Unaware. Bring light to the darkness. So this is going to be both metaphorical illumination and literal illumination. Can you share some more homebrew with me? Again, I don't think links are okay. You'd have to ask one of the actual mods if anyone turns up, but I can, if you're still in chat when Plastic Cage Plays turns up, he's worth asking, because he sometimes turns up and is like the only Onyx Path representative I know that does with any regularity. But again, the Discord, if you've got it, or the fora, if you have an account with Discord or the fora, the Onyx Path fora are good places. Or the Sluretian Vault. People, if you publish it on there and people give you feedback, that's a way you can garner feedback. It's not a link. Okay, yeah, sure. Drop it in chat. I'll discuss it. I'll try not to take the ideas. Promise I won't. Mage Bane weapon rare requires your magic weapons +1 to attack damage rolls. When you successfully hit the spellcaster, this weapon deals extra 1d4 +1 damage against the target. Yeah, that's pretty good. Initial thoughts. Is that additional 1d4 +1 damage a different damage type to the weapon? And does it have any, like, if they have to make a concentration check as a result, does it suffer any penalties because that is specifically a weapon for use against mages? Even if it's just a -1 penalty to the save. Bring light to the darkness. Same as a weapon? Cool. Whilst ignorance is a danger to Mage Bane weapons ascension, or the person has a very fluent speak and understand common language, can see here at 60 feet and dark vision 6 feet and blind sight 5 feet. Most stunning extreme distasteful spellcaster watching the weapon gradually as a friendly acquaintance, otherwise hostile or the least indifferent. Hey, I want to use you if that's okay. No, okay. I love sentient weapons. I really need to make more use of them in my own games. But that's a really cool idea for a magic weapon. Does it get stronger the more mages it kills? Whilst ignorance is a danger to many. It does not. Sounds like the Orgalux. It does sound like an Orgalux. You are correct. Yes, I'm a sort of weeb. Not really. I watch a bit of anime, but not that much. The Long Arctic Nights. Fenrilic's Long Arctic Nights. There we go. It's renowned. Oh, hang on. No, this is like. Yeah, never mind. Ignore me. This is like a commandment. Bring light to the darkness. Your fault entirely, not sorry? Well, not really. I was interested in anime beforehand. Ignorant will charge you with... Ignorant will spurn your knowledge, and the blind will not seek you out. Must bring your light must pierce ignorance and shadow alike. So I need to change that previous sentence. The deluded, let's say, just so I'm not repeating ignorant. What's that idea of the type of weapon that their influences their personality? For example, finesse weapon might be haunting and proud, bludgeoning weapon might be stubborn and thick-headed. That is a great idea. Do you mind if I use that in my own games? I don't think there'll be magic items in this, although I might just be like, hey, this is how you can do it. But that's a really cool idea. It also takes a step back from my usual, the personality is kind of based on the creator rather than the weapon. Don't mind at all? Why, thank you. Bring light, teach the worthy kind of makes sense as well. But I want to do this anew. Ow. Just scratch my nose. Bring light to the darkness. Teach those who would learn. Not everyone has turned from the knowledge of the world outside of the world beyond them. Beyond their borders, let's say. Must teach any who would listen to you. and then listen to those who would teach. I've got a really cool idea for this. I don't know how useful it'd be in practice, but these two particularly, I have a class feature in mind that is reasonably obvious, but and might be open to abuse. I don't know, but it should be cool. Anyway, listen to those who teach, or who would teach, though. Avoid ignorance, both of others and yourself. Sorry about the webcam thing, by the way. My webcam, the monitor is personalized a bit shaky. Avoiding ignorance, both in others and yourself, even better. Where another possesses knowledge, you do not take the time to learn it. But always beware of heretics. Yes, and Stable Dares, always beware of heretics. Or heretics, if you play a certain grim far future game. Okay, Paladin level, Oath feature, Oath spells, Channel Divinity, and bonus spells. And it's in that order because Oath spells apply at any level. Channel Divinity is something you get anyway, I believe, before this level. Now I'm doubting myself. Please do forgive me while I check. Page 75 is not the page I was looking for. That's Warlock and Gold from Warlock. Okay, Channel Divinity you get at 3rd level? From your Oath, it looks like. Can you tell I haven't played a Paladin in a while? Yeah, there we go. But you get 2 Channel Divinity options. I also need to open my PDF of examples, i.e. a published book from Wizards of the Coast. There we go. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm back. What was I saying? Yeah. So as you can see with the tenets, you can, whilst the narrative paragraph above gives you a broad overview of the subclass, the tenets allow you to be very specific in the focus and direction of it. Obviously, with the other classes, that's more derived through the class features themselves. But whenever you make a character in any game or you're creating any kind of content, it helps to have an idea of the concept in mind, so that you can always fall back to that concept when you're stuck for ideas. And the tenets of illumination give you just a bit more of a focused concept, shall we say, than the generic paragraph above. So Oath spells, Channel Divinity, bonus spells, that's all good. Aura of the Mage Hunter, again, these are 7th level is always an aura effect for Paladins. It's a 10-foot aura that increases at something like 17th level. And then 15th and 20th level differs. It's going to be Aura of Reason, I believe I was going to call it. But I need to check what the kind of like standard aura does. Yes. Aura of Reason. And then examples of 15th level features. Automatic healing. That's cool. You're not tanky enough as a Paladin. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, there it is. Bit of extra damage. Okay. Right, I'm just going to as ever, make notes of what I mean by these what I mean by these things before spending a lot of time on other things and forget. Guidance, light. I'm not a smart person. They go down here. I'm going to say heading 2. Heck yes, heading 2. Aura of Reason. Int with charisma saves. I might also do an extra small bonus on that. Anyway, gotta tell someone about this. Went to feed Hermes Man a pickle, and Damon said, roll to see if he wants it. Now 20 shoved it in his mouth, so he couldn't breathe until it hit 5 damage, had to run from the guards. Wow. That's a thing. Thank you for sharing, Punkish Vampire. Okay, so third level features are going to be about like basic grounding. One channel divinity feature will be you can swap, you can exchange a skill proficiency until the end of the next long rest with someone in range, I guess. I'll figure that out later. So that's about kind of teaching and listening. Bonus spells, guidance and light are, again, they're about helping through knowledge and literal light. Aura of Reason is going to be about resisting the effects of other people with the mental saving throws. And I think maybe like a +1 bonus to rolls that use intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. Checks, sorry, that use intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. So I think that's fine. I think 50th level... It's time to be more of a literal bring light to darkness kind of thing. Now, Paladins already get a thing called Divine Smite, where they can expend a spell slot to deal radiant damage. The easiest thing to do would be that you get 1 free use of that per... attack, although by 15th level that's already sort of happening anyway. Let's go with blinding. Blinding radiance. Blading. What? That's not how you spell that word. Blinding radiance. Heading 2. And then con save versus blind when dealing radiant damage. And then level 20 is usually like the uber tier because healing through herbalism would be completely in theme for this class. It would. It would. That would just be a bonus proficiency with herbalism kit. Or you could just do entirely with flavor through the Light and Hands ability that all paladins get at level 1, I want to say. Yeah, level 1. Which is a pool of hit points equal to Paladin level times 5. I was thinking I might do something with that, but the Channel Divinity works as well. It ties it. There's less stuff to remember that you can do. Anyway, 20th level is kind of like, hey, now you are a demigod for a short period of time. Enjoy. It's also like it usually lasts for a minute, once per short rest kind of thing. Yes, so Avatar of Reason. The fifth element, little known after the Fire Nation was subjugated. Anyway. Skill proficiencies, etc. I'll deal with that when I get to it. Okay, oath spells are already included because I did that. I thought ahead. I'm wonderful. I believe I need to pick a... I don't think rangers get automatically extra spells, actually, thinking about it. Anyway, so comprehend languages, exactly what it sounds like. You cast the spell, you can read and understand language, any language. Guiding Bolt is a fire and forget spell that does radiant damage and grants the target the next attack on the same target advantage. Augury is like, will this action lead to good or bad results, I believe. See Invisibility, exactly what it sounds like. Daylight, summons daylight. There's nothing else I could say to that. Dispel Magic does what it says on the tin. Arcane Eye lets you see things from a distance. Divination gives you some indication about a course of action. Quite similar to Augury. I think Divination just gives you more information. Awaken allows you to bestow the gift of intelligence and sapience on an animal or a tree. On an animal or plant, sorry. And Legend Lore is about remembering legends. Because Paladin, as I mentioned this earlier, but because Paladins are half-casters, they only get up to 5th level spells, and it takes them a lot longer to get those slots. So these are 1st level spell slots, these are 2nd level, 1st level spells, 2nd level spells, 3rd level spells, 4th level spells, and 5th level spells. References the Sacred Oath class feature for how oath spells work, because there's just a lot of text I do not want to repeat. And there we go. Now, this is the core of the class, the Channel Divinity. Essentially, it gives you some spell-like abilities that you can do a limited number of times per long rest. How are these typically written out? I believe there is... Yes. Okay, so... what should I call this? Share what you know. Do not want bold. You can use your Channel Divinity to share your knowledge with others. As an action, you may exchange one of your skill proficiencies with a skill proficiency possessed by a creature you can touch. This exchange lasts until the end of the next long rest. I think that's accurate. Get out of here, Word document. I think that's relatively good wording. Relatively good wording? That's terrible grammar. What? Is there any writers I want to tack onto that? I mean, the obvious one would be you may only use this once per creature. Or you may only use this version of Channel Divinity once per long rest. But hey, if you want to use both to get 2 different skills, go for it. I'm going to elaborate on this. Skill, tool, or weapon proficiencies. Skill, tool, or weapon proficiencies. with a skill or weapon proficiency. I'm going to proficiency of the same type. No, I'll leave it as it is because the way this is worded, you could say trade your proficiency in intimidation for proficiency in land vehicles, for example. And I think that's fair. That's like an open exchange of knowledge. And it does revert at the end of your next long rest anyway, so. And then the next one should probably have some kind of combat utility. It is a half-caster martial class kind of thing. So let's go with... Just dealing radiant damage is boring, but it's the obvious answer. Drawing on the imagery of like piercing the darkness, I kind of want to give him a lance or a magical bow or something. Weapon of light. Yeah, still old. You can use your lance, not bow. Yeah, that's what I figured. I just need to check. I do in the SRD. Where is the weapon table? That's the wrong bookmark. Here it is. I might say you can conjure a weapon. The weapon has the following. Or I can just say you may conjure a weapon from the following list. Let's say to conjure a weapon from the following list. That'd be what? Lance, maul, or... Or I could just say may conjure a lance or a maul, maybe. Both being sort of two-handed weapons. A lance is two-handed unless you're riding, in which case it's only a one-handed weapon. I want thematics. You know, I'm going to literally call this Pierce the Darkness. I mean, a maul doesn't make sense in that sense because it does bludgeoning damage, but it'd be fine. Could have a lance or a spear, but when thrown, the spear returns. Yeah, let's go with that. Check something. Yeah. To conjure a lance or a spear. So even better. Draw a weapon made of light. You may use your action. Conjure a lance or a spear. You are considered proficient in the use of your conjured weapon, and How I can't. There are examples of this. I can't think of any off the top of my head for easy reference. Where's the? Is there one for warlocks in Xanathars? Yes, there is. Haha. You're considered proficient in the use of your conjured weapon, and you can use your charisma modifier instead of strength or dexterity for the attack and damage rolls. Haha. Tangential thinking. Additionally, the weapon deals radiant damage in place of its normal damage type. And say you can use a bonus action to summon the spear to your hand. You can use your bonus action to summon your spear to your hand if it has been thrown. I assume the weapon disappears at some point, so they can't just every day add one to a collection of divine spears. Yes, Axes, I will. I was going to add a duration to this. I think 1 minute. Most combats in D&D take less than 30 seconds. Looks at camera, yes, really. So a minute's a decent time length, a decent time limit, and this can only be done like twice a day anyway. So, or am I getting that confused with the other channel divinities? I believe this is twice a day for the vast majority of the class. Vast majority of the class levels. That's Ranger. It's here somewhere. I thought it was here somewhere. I could be wrong. Finish a short or long rest. Oh yeah, so depending on how many short rests you have, you could get a lot of use out of this, but it'd be fine. D&D combat reinforces time dilation, 30 seconds of combat, 2 hours of time. Yes, D&D, a game where 5 hours of combat can handle 30 seconds. There was a point to that. It's like you can do a travel scene in 30 seconds, but combat in 5 hours. Anyway, it's a thing. Weapon sheds bright light in a 5-foot radius and dim light in a 10-foot radius. You know what? That's wrong. Instinctively, I know that is wrong. Where's the light spell? I've said this a couple of times now, but obviously if you're trying to do any kind of official looking product, try to keep to the style guide. Sheds paralysis in a 5-foot radius and dim light for an additional 5 feet. There we go. Haha. Okay, bonus spells. This was the only thing at 3rd level, right? Yes. When you take this oath at 3rd level, you are granted the ability to bestow a measure of greater understanding to your allies and to throw back the night through your magic. Morning, afternoon, folks. Hey, Plastic Age Plays. How you doing, Travis? You learned the guidance. Nope. Do not italicize the and. That will really confuse me. And light cantrips. Accidental caps. Hey, you're just really ebullient this morning. Heck yeah to the word ebullient. Charisma is your spellcasting ability modifier for these cantrips. I realized I could have just put that in the Oath Spells table, but Oath Spells don't actually cover cantrips because you don't typically, Paladins don't typically get them, so there we go. Aura of Reason, this is the 7th level. Oh, not that table. Yeah, 7th level. That would have been bad. Typing in the wrong line. Okay. Time you reach. What word was that? Thank you for autocorrect. 7th level. You are able to project your mental fortitude to others. I'll just shamelessly steal the wording of every other aura effect in this game for Paladins. It's something like page 45. Nope, that's Sorcerer. 35. Range is close enough. Wow, I never really realized how many auras Paladins get. 6th and 10th level are both auras for the base class, plus whatever aura you get for being part of your subclass. That's ridiculous. Good lord. Or that's what they're there for. True. Anyway, I was actually looking for the wording. You and friendly creatures within 10 feet of you have advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. I don't think that actually needs anything else. I mean, I was gonna add maybe like a bonus to skills that use those ability scores, equal to half the charisma modifier, but I don't think it really needs it. At 18th level, the range of this aura increases to 30 feet. I'm aware there is a typo. So, by 7th level, you have a 10-foot aura that gives you advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. A bonus to saving throws equal to the Paladin's charisma modifier. And also, can't be frightened when you hit 10th level. Man, that's cool. I mean, advantage and a bonus on top of that from the Paladin's charisma modifier, that's kind of high, but equally, that's really why you have a Paladin. And obviously, if you're really good at intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws, there are 3 other saving throws you might not be as good at. Also, gnomes just have that anyway. I think gnomes have advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saves. So that's fine. I picked those in case, for anyone who's curious, because those are your 3 mental stats. Much like Story Path and Storytell systems have the essentially power, resistance, and finesse stats of break up their attributes by power, resistance, and finesse. So does D&D. They just never put a name to it. So intelligence is your power, wisdom's your resistance, and charisma's your finesse. Or as clumps folks together and don't give bonuses to dex saves, just saying. Exactly. If everyone's within 10 feet of you, ooh, that's a good fireball target right there. Or cubes. I really want the game to make more use of cubes. I just really like cube effects, and I don't know why. I might do a cube effect for the wizard. Like, when you cast a spell first level or higher, something happens and a 15-foot cube centered on yourself. Although, of course, mechanically, the difference between cubes and spheres is very little. Unless you're using, like, full 3D battle maps. Anyway. Blinding Radiance is the 15th level feature. Yes. Dodecahedron effects. Yeah, you actually put the die on the table, and everything that touches it is dead. Or you roll it on the table, and any miniatures it knocks over, they just remove from play. If you're using maps, obviously. When you reach 15th level, your connection to the light of the world around you empowers you. Time to buy a massive D20 then. God, can you imagine? It's like a bowling ball sized D20. Whenever you deal radiant damage with a spell. What about your D120? Yeah, Critic do sell quite large wooden D20s. I've never seen a D120. Hang on, I'm going to get distracted doing this, which is totally unprofessional, but at the same time, I am a nerd, and I need to see what a D120 looks like. Oh my... That's ridiculous. How did you even know what number's on top? It's the same problem with the D100. Anyway, whenever you deal radiant damage with a spell or weapon attack, let's say you may choose a number of creatures equal to your charisma modifier. Minimum of 1. Because we have to remember, sometimes people stack their strength or dex as a paladin and have low charisma. But there we go. We choose a number of creatures equal to your charisma modifier. Who can see you? Needs a range. Number of creatures equal to your charisma modifier within, say, 30 feet of you. And who can see you? The chosen creatures. Let's attempt a Constitution saving throw. I think Constitution's the one that's usually used against blinding effect. I know that's spelled wrong. Don't at me. This is your spell save DC. There we go. I guess just any creature who fails. That sounds wrong. Trying to think of any existing examples of an effect like this that I can reference for wording. I don't think the Sunsoul Monk does anything. Again, that's from actual D&D, so you won't find it in the Scarlet Lands books. No. Oop. Whoops. D120s are nice so they can emulate D8s, D12s, D20s, and D30s, and implicitly all the die types those can emulate. True. Everyone turns up with just a huge bag of dice. And then you're like, here's my one die. Does everything. Look up the flash spell. That is a good point. Take me to the bookmark. Spells and true rituals. New spell descriptions. Yeah, that does exactly what I want it to do. So in which case... I mean, in which case I could just say you may cast the flash spell. I mean, that kind of makes sense. And this is a Thracian Vault content project, so I can reference Scarlet Land spells. That's better. I mean, that would be a lot of... You may do this a number of times per short rest. Okay, there we go. That's better. Thanks, Travis. You may cast... Nope. Flash spell. I do usually try to avoid replicating spell effects, but because I'm not as familiar with Scarred Lands as I am with other D&D settings, or other game lines that use the SRD, I should say, things like that will escape my notice. Yoy. You may do this a number of times. Although, yoy. Every now and then I create a typo and I'm like, this should be a word. This is a word I want to use on my own Twitch channel. You may do this a number of times equal to your charisma modifier. Minimum of 1. And regain... Oops, a daisy. All expended uses at the end of it. I'm going to say short or long rest. So here's the thing about short rests that I've sort of noticed and is also anecdotal from other people. If you have a party without a warlock in it, a lot of time short rests are really ignored. Certainly in other SRD powered system, games. Yo is a word, yo-yo is a word, but yoy isn't. That was bad, man. So I'm happy to put short or long rest there. Or a monk with key points, yeah, or a monk with key points for that matter. Occasionally you'll have a wizard who can persuade the party to take short rests for arcane recovery, but it's not few and far between. Also, because the channel divinity refreshes on short rest should specify it doesn't consume an action, or if so, one action. Yes, that is true. It also requires material components, right, that it would not need. Yes. We cast the flash spell without requiring a spell slot. or material components. Let's get some hot water. Should this be a reaction? I could just copy the text, you are correct. The thing about copying the text is that anything that has benefits against spells specifically wouldn't get the benefit of that. I'm just trying to. I'm weighing up the benefits and drawbacks of doing that. So benefit, it's a spanner in the works. I like the effects of the E reaction, but I know I'm in the minority trick. No, I was thinking that it would be a reaction, particularly because you've already got like Divine Smite being a good source of radiant damage, and that being like a free thing. Yeah, I'm just going to copy the text of the spell. It's not actually a spell; it's just a spell effect. God, I want to play Scarred Land so bad. Anyway, whenever you deal, you may. I'm just going to drop it here, and then edit it. You may use your reaction. As a class feature, though, I think selling it off as spells for things like cast spells is fine. Oh yeah. And yes, it is worded and it is written that way on Stabilis, as you can now see. You may use your reaction to create a 10-foot sphere of bling. 10-foot sphere of bling. Wow. What was I thinking? I mushed blinding light and blinding and light together because I was saying light, so I was typing blinding. That's what happened there. I know what happened, but anyway, so much glitter. Sphere of bling. Oh, that's got to be a thing for April Fools now. Centered on yourself. Sphere doesn't extend around corners. Each creature in the area must succeed on a Constitution saving throw. Be blinded for 1 minute. Creature blind this way. Creature have disadvantage on saving throws against this feature. Oh, what was I saying? Yeah, because I had a point that I was going to make, that I was going to reinforce. I promise you I did. Anyway, whenever you... Oh, yeah, because, as I was saying, because... and again, like Travis, Plastic Age plays, what have you, he knows the game really well. And for people who don't necessarily, Paladins have a class feature called Divine Smite, where when you hit something with a melee weapon, you can expend a spell slot to deal radiant damage, and at 11th level you get Improved Divine Smite, where you get once per turn get that effect for free. So by 15th level, you've got the radiant damage regularly. So like every turn, once per turn, you can do that. So I'm thinking I might limit this to charisma modifier still, but like I don't want it for free because Divine Smite is free. What is going on in chat right now? Sphere of Blink sounds like it should be a spell in the fashion-themed combat RPG. Final Fantasy 12, you're not X2, sorry, RPG. I think such an RPG would sell too. I'd love a dress-up Monster Slayer RPG. I mean, I could make that. I'm kind of like halfway there with my magical folk, like Sailor Moon style RPG anyway. So having some fashion rules for it wouldn't be that difficult, I guess. I do want to use that engine to build a proper spell engine anyway. So anyway, so that's for free. So I don't want this to also be free. So having a reaction is good. I also like tying things to reactions. It's just a personal stylistic choice. But I will limit it to charisma modifier as well. Fashion Wars, the RPG. May use this feature a number of times equal to your charisma modifier. A minimum of 1. Does insulting someone's clothes deal damage then? I mean, that's just vicious mockery. That's a D&D joke. You can all laugh. It's not really a joke. Tactic actually calls for a tactical choice, which some players take. Exactly, also that. It's also nebulous free actions I don't like, because the rest of the game is very specific, and then very occasionally you'll get a thing that's like, hey, you can do this, but I'm not going to tell you what it costs. It seems like I don't know. It almost it feels like they were trying to do two things. I mean, I know that I think it was Mike Crawford, Mike Mills, sorry, who said that if given the choice, he wouldn't have bonus actions. He'd have like I think the example he gave in an interview was, if you make an attack as a rogue, you can then just make the hide action afterwards if you want to, or you can dash if you want to, or disengage rather than having the thing. There's invariably a result. And you're saying, I guess you just do it at the table. Yeah. I had this with a third-party cleric domain, where the channel divinity there wasn't assigned a part of the action economy, and it's really weird because it's like a adjacent to a hero's feast kind of spell, but tones down, obviously, because it's channel divinity. Anyway, equal to your charisma modifier, and regain all expended uses at the end of a short or long rest. Also, tying this to a short rest, for Paladin players who do, as I say, not lowball charisma, but maybe don't place as much importance on charisma. It's not punishing them, because the potential to get it back on a short rest is there. I mean, yeah, they'll be able to use it fewer times, but the short rest gives you more options. The one place with Defend Pathfinder 2 is action economy. It's pretty solid. Yeah, I mean, I like the I mean, I mentioned this on Twitter to Travis, but the age system action economy is pretty good. Major action and minor action, or 2 minor actions. Wisdom save, lest you get a level of aggravation. Aggravation is a negative effect on creative venture. Enough aggravation will lead you into physical combat. Scene trackers. I think it should be an aggravation limit break. What is it? It's just like, oh my god. ... And Avatar of Reason. At 20th level, can embody the dual meanings of illumination. I think these are all like actions, right? For the Paladin capstone, to assume the state. I'm an hour and 13 minutes in. I have about half an hour left, and I have not yet made an Avatar state joke. What kind of nerd am I? Anyway. Wording, please. There we go. So, as an action, you can do something for 1 minute. I don't want it to be an aura. What is the wording of the examples in Xanathos? Magically become an avatar of conquest, gaining the following benefits. Become an avatar of peace, which gives you the following two benefits. Okay. Why is my brain... Okay. As an action, you can... knowledge and skills of those around you, as well as the light in your environment. For 1 minute, you gain all the proficiencies of every creature within, let's say, 30 feet. That can be lowered, obviously. And languages of every... that's clunky, and know all the languages, I guess. For 1 minute, you gain all the proficiencies. Should I specify? Let's specify just to be on the safe side. All of these skill, weapon, and tool proficiencies. And all the languages of. Nope. Every creature within 30 feet. Now, like, the obvious thing here is just anything within a certain range of you just takes radiant damage at the start of your turn. I'm just gonna check something. Bear with me. There it is. Yes, I will go with that also, because I think it's a cool spell. Your opinion may vary, obviously. Yes, let's go with that. Provides a fail forward mechanics where you get access to the tap because you failed to save. That's pretty cool. You realise that I'm going to have to write this Fashion Wars RPG now, right? Because you're all talking about it, and I'm like, I could do this. I have enough projects on the go. I'm already, like, mentally hip deep in planning a Stardew Valley RPG. Anyway, additionally, that's the hope. Thanks. Let's put it on topic. Let's see if I can do it in the story path system. That's not going to happen. I want to play Pretty Princess with magic dresses. I mean, you can. I just make loads of magic dresses for Scarred Lands, it'll be fine. Anyway, additionally, for the duration, you are surrounded by the effects of the daylight spell. Where would I put this? I just want to put Holy Beacon in here somewhere, and I'm trying to think how to word it. I guess it'd be when you activate this feature. I just think Holy Beacon is a really cool spell. It could just be, additionally, for the duration you're surrounded by the effects of the Daylight spell, and you may cast Holy Beacon once without requiring a spell slot or material components. Yeah, let's do that. Hang on, does it have material components? It doesn't. Never mind. Without requiring a spell slot. We should make this RPG on stream. I mean, I'm not averse to it. I do occasionally run this show on my own channel with my own projects. It's just they don't really attract people. Yeah, I'm not sure I could persuade anyone to let me be like, hey, you know how the story path system's an Onyx Path game, an Onyx Path thing? Yeah, could I use that on stream to make my own RPG? But that's why I have my own channel. So anyway, I was going to. Does this need anything else? I am considering maybe like you and anyone else in your aura, or anyone else within 10 feet automatically pass intelligence, wisdom, charisma saving throws for pitch ideas. Oh yeah, I already have my own pitch idea, but like I need to finish that, but I mean do a basic proofing pass and send it off for a different story path game inspired by, like early noughties action horror films like Underworld and Blade. Anyway, let's do this. I don't know if this is broken or not, and like how many people really get blood bullets in Chrome. What did I even call it? I gave it like a really edgy name because I thought that was evocative of the time. Moonlit Darkest Shadows, because it's super evocative of the era. Blood bullets, black lights, and Chrome. Don't forget the leather as well. And may use your reaction to automatically succeed at an intelligence, wisdom, or blood, guts, and ashes. Or charisma saving throw. Yeah, so it's essentially that RPG you were talking about with you've been discussing in chat is just a magical girl RPG, isn't it? But with a fashion focus rather than ancient evils. Anyway, 20th level, you can embody the dual meaning of illumination. As an action, you can call upon the knowledge and skills of those around you, as well as the light in your environment. For 1 minute, you gain all the skill, weapon, and tool proficiencies, and all the languages of every creature within 30 feet of you. That needs to specify. Or you. Of you. Additionally, for the duration, you are surrounded by the effects of the Daylight spell. You may cast Holy Beacon once without requiring a spell slot, and may use your reaction to automatically succeed at an intelligence, wisdom, or charisma saving throw. You could just make a dress-up expansion for the magical girl setting. That is true. You could. Who says it can't have fashion-oriented evils? That is very true also. This just sounds like a Trinity Continuum thing, if I'm being honest. Thinking fashion design is not necessarily a magical girls, but open to the idea. Full disclosure, Entire made a dress-up supplement for a $5 on your Patreon. I was thinking of taking it that way. but like Scarred Lands stress up, so it's leather and chain and rivets. As I said, and like I'm working on my own system in the background to power my small role-playing games. You mean that's hype? No, that's metal. I went there. I am so sorry. Gaudy iron bread clothes. Complete opposite. Yeah, that would be needed. Anyway, additionally, do we need Holy Beacon's answer as well? I don't think so. Anyway, additionally, for the duration, you're surrounded by the effects of the Dirt spell, you may cast Holy Beacon once without requiring spells on you. You may use your reaction to automatically succeed at an Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma saving throw. I think that does everything I want it to. I don't know, does it seem underpowered to anyone? I've never played a Paladin to 20th level. I've played it for a couple of levels, like a thought experiment. By which I mean I plotted out a couple of levels of Paladin to see how it would feel. I mean, the other examples are... I keep opening the wrong thing. The one in the SRD is 20th level capstone. Please find it. There we go. Aura of light within 30, dim light within 30 beyond that. Whenever a creature starts its turn in the bright light, it takes damage. Have an advantage on saving throws against spells cast by fiends and undead. Oh, I need to once use this feature. You can't use it again. Rider, I'm aware of that also. Let's actually make this relevant. Where did the orders go? Adamantine, there we go. 15-foot bright, 15-foot dim. Start of each of your turns, you heal 10 hit points, cure to 1 instances of poison. Same for allies. Order of Iron. Somewhere. 1 minute. You regain 10 hit points, advantage on weapon attack rolls, can attack 3 times, so twice with extra attack. I've only just realised that... Oh, Oath of Devotion from the core rules. There we go. I was like, what? Why is Mithril shafted? And then Oath of Silvery Light for 30 foot, 30 foot. 10 radiant damage and bright light, and elementals or fiends. I mean, it could be cool like, if you see Holy Beacon from another casting, activate the feature as a reaction, casting Holy Beacon's answer in the process. That is true. That is true. And yes, as written, because you only get 1 reaction per turn, so 10 turns. And you already have advantage on them from the aura, and a bonus on them from the base Paladin aura. Like, you're not really in any danger of needing to use this, but if it comes down to it, it's there. And it kind of doubles down on the cerebrality of the subclass, I guess. I'm also wondering if it's worth, as well as bonus spells, giving them like a bonus proficiency. I don't know. Anyway, maybe specify you can choose to use the reaction after you roll the save. Oh yeah, I need to specify when the reaction is used anyway, don't I? Yeah. Let's go with that. Taken after... Let's do it this way around. This reaction must be used after rolling the dice. But before... It's usually worded the results of the action, isn't it? Success or failure. of the throw are known. Is known, sorry. There's no plural there. Before the GM declares, yeah. Is now. That means we don't need that. Before the GM. After before. No, I like rolling the dice, but before the GM declares success or failure. Obviously, this will all be tidied up anyway when I've got time to go back over it. Alternatively, have a concept for a monster and want to hear my thoughts? Hit me. Hit me with that concept. That is the point of this show. One of the many. Alternatively, you may use your reaction taken upon seeing the effects of the Holy Beacon spell. To trigger this class, to activate this class feature. If you do this, you must cast Holy Beacon's answer in place of Holy Beacon. Does that work? That wording is weird. Creature when material creature dies in the middle of attempting to play a travel at the start of each of their turns, or roll d6 and the creature type change for the rest of that round depending on the number rolled. They also get additional benefits depending on the creature type. Okay. That is a cool idea. The problem I have with it, instinctively, is that it will bog down play. Or slow down play if you don't understand that phrasing. Much like the confusion spell can go down a fire because it just slows things down so much. You could do it maybe whenever it takes a certain amount of damage per turn. Give it a smaller health pool, but when it dies, it just comes back at full health as a different creature type, and you give it a couple of lives that way. I know that the old Unearthed Arcana for Tieflings gave you the option of Abyssal Tieflings, where you changed your kind of innate spellcasting at the end of a long rest based on which kind of realm of the abyss you were from that day or something. And monsters can get long rests, so if they escape, they can totally change their creature type that way. You could also do it whenever they critically hit with a weapon attack or a spell attack, maybe. Need maybe against 2 hit dice each time it dies, like a boss in Final Fantasy game. So I threw a 2-stage boss fight at my... I've thrown several multiple-stage boss fights at my players, and they really don't like them. I have no idea why I Final Fantasy on the brain today. Maybe you should play it. Does that... Anyway, alternatively, you may use your reaction taken upon seeing the effects of Holy Beacon to activate this class feature. If you do this... Oh, Holy Beacon's answer replaces Holy Beacon... and the listed effects above. Benefits, I guess? And then once you have triggered this feature... Oh, it's Godlands Player's Guide. You can use Holy Nimbus constantly. Anyway. Where is it? Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish long rest. There we go. How about whenever a creature takes 6 or more damage, roll d6 to the end of the next turn. The creature type changes depending on the number rolled, and they gain an additional trait depending on the new creature type. Yeah, I'd say swap. But yeah, that works. Oh, things can share creature types, so it could be monstrosity brackets. Examples being the new Gothic lineages for D&D are humanoid undead, so that Cure Wounds still works. And are also considered shape changes. So what, if they got hit by the effects of something that forces them to revert to their original form, they're just a monstrosity of their first plane. Of their first planar form. Air quotes. Cool. Okay, so 20th level. At 20th level, you can embody the dual meaning of illumination. As an action, you can call upon knowledge and skills of those around you, as well as the light in your environment. For 1 minute, you gain all the skill, weapon, and tool proficiencies, and know all the languages of every creature within 30 feet of you. Additionally, for the duration, you are surrounded by the effects of the Daylight spell. You may cast Holy Beacon once without requiring a spell slot, and may use your reaction to automatically succeed at an Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma saving throw. This reaction must be used after rolling the dice, but before the GM declares the success or failure of the saving throw. Alternatively, you may use your reaction, taken upon seeing the effects of Holy Beacon, to activate this class feature. If you do this, Holy Beacon's answer replaces Holy Beacon in the listed benefits above. Those of you who do not know, Holy Beacon is like a magical flare, and Holy Beacon's answer lets you teleport to the source of the flare, in very simplistic terms. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. I'm happy with that. Again, I have no idea how I would play at the table. I entirely rely on reviews. Oh, speaking of reviews, you know, I'll do that in a moment. I entirely rely on reviews on the relevant community content sites to provide feedback because I don't get to playtest these. Obviously, the chat interaction where people who know a lot also give their thoughts. So today we have discussed how the narrative of a paladin subclass, particularly with the focus of tenets of it, with the tenets of the subclass, can drive mechanics, and have produced a reasonably, I guess this is more of a utilitarian paladin, with emphasis more on kind of support in terms of skill usage and things like that, whilst also doing a bit of radiant nonsense. The show, I guess the show technically is over now. I don't have time to start the range. The next show, the next stream, next time I stream, however you want to phrase it, there's a place in the major climax in Dead Man's Rust where your immediate thought was this is a perfect opportunity for Holy Beacon's answer and sending. I actually need to finish reading that. I skimmed over the first few sections, but then onslaught of books for Christmas arrived. One of which was the Contagion Chronicle from a friend who it happened to arrive with the Christmas just after Christmas, because we did like a group back. So I was like, there was too much to read, and I stopped. I do fully intend to read the entirety of Dead Man's Rust though, because what I read was badass. Hey, you know what would have been helpful in that meat grinder stream we did? Holy Beacon. Anyway. Next stream will be on the 16th. It is every 2 weeks, fortnightly, bi-weekly if you prefer. Hopefully I'll be in a better headspace by that point. So let me know if you find the scene that cries out for the spell. I will. Today's been a bit scattered, but today we have also been discussing dress-up RPGs, so that's cool. And now I'm thinking about how you could do that in Story Path. Gosh darn it, brain, focus on one thing at a time, please. Anyway, so the 16th, yes. If you have come in at the end of the stream and you want to know what we've been talking about, this video will go up in a week minimum on my YouTube channel. If you wish to watch it before then, You will have to subscribe to the Onyx Path Twitch channel, twitch.tv/theonyxpath, where the subscribers get a week's exclusivity to videos on demand, as well as some cool emotes, and a channel on the Onyx Path Discord server, which is pretty hype. If you have any kind of lingering questions, when I've finished up here, I do stick around for about 5 minutes while the week's schedule happens, and I can always be found on Twitter, Comrade Bubbles. I do lurk on the Onyx Path Discord a lot, and it's also Comrade Bubbles there, and I do stream on my own Twitch channel. Those are the emotes, although I think Ian's planning on replacing the Hecate one. I do stream on my own Twitch channel, but that's mostly video gamey things. Unless I feel like doing one of my rare Patreon development streams, which it is technically a Patreon goal, but I'm quite a way off of that. So I just do them as and when I feel like it. But that's all 5e stuff that, hey, coincidentally, compatible with Scarred sort of. Next stream, will be the Ranger, Scare Eye hunting, which will be very specific to Fenrilic, but hey, you could then take them off of Fenrilic. I'm aiming for like a sort of scavenging Scion. I don't know how well it's going to work. We'll find out. I have like one idea, and that's it. But I mentioned at the top of the stream, the best place to go for news on Onyx Path products, projects, etc. is the Monday meeting notes. It also tells you things that are being released and links to media and schedules and whatnot. The current Kickstarter is for Scion Dragon and Scion Masks of the Mythos, which adds dragons and the Cthulhu mythos to the Scion game line. Looks really cool. I'm backing it when I can afford to, but it's a lean time of the year, and you best believe the moment that it's available for Storypath content, in 2 years' time, that I am 100% doing something for that, because I like both dragons and the Cthulhu mythos. Also of note, on top of just the sweet art from the Monday meeting notes, one of the next Kickstarters will be for Trinity Continuum Adventure, and there's some short radio drama play things happening to promote that, which is a really cool promotional idea, and I'm a big fan of radio dramas. I really need to listen to more, especially from like the 1930s and whatnot, because they're so hokey but entertaining to listen to. All for the Cthulhu mythos. Heck yeah, on Stable DS. I knew there was a reason we get on. So excited for adventure. You got to work on it. It's so fun. Excellent. There you go. Straight from one of the writer's mouths. It's so fun. Recorded for posterity. I think really that's it. Apart from something quite spectacular, really. Yesterday, I think I'm okay to talk about this even though it's not Scarred Lands. Yesterday, I actually released the Chronicles of Darkness introductory adventure I did on the show. The Radford Estate is now 100% available for purchase on Storyteller's Vault. If you give me a second, I will grab the link. No one has to buy it, obviously, but it is an introductory adventure. Also, if you type the Radford Estate in, it is the first non-sponsored ad on DuckDuckGo, I believe. There it is. Oh, you don't need the filters bit. I forgot to crop that out. I'm sorry. It is an complete introductory adventure to the Chronicles of Darkness game line. You do need the core rulebook, but the adventure comes with pre-generated characters, a couple of like design notes, and it's in your cart. Yay! It is pay what you want. So as I've mentioned, all of my introductory adventures will be pay what you want, because I don't believe in gatekeeping. And like, if you've bought the rulebook, the first thing the next instinct is I want to run it, but I don't know how. So my introductory adventures will always be free. This won't be, because it's not an introductory thing. It is pay what you want. There is a suggested price, but really pay as you feel. And if you pick it up for free now and like it, you can always pay later. I will say, much like with the Scion, with A Rude Awakening, my Scion introductory adventure. I can only make those better with feedback and reviews. So if you do play it, or even if you just read it, please do leave a review. It does help spread the word, all of that good stuff. I'm hoping to start work on the last season's product soon, as in like edit it, put in the template, and all of that good stuff. That was a new Pantheon for Scion, if you recall. I'm hoping to start that next week, if not earlier, and get that finished by the end of the month, so that I can then just go onto this straight after I finish that. But hey, who knows? Life has a real way of kicking me when I'm down at the minute, and time is not the Inkborn. Yes, the Inkborn. I'm really bad at naming things, can you tell? And time is, as a lot of people are experiencing, time is always a constant factor that I'm running short of. I know that this is a short stream, but I don't have anything else. Life finds a way. It does. It's true. I really want to rewatch that film now. Thanks, Travis. Really appreciate that. Big fan. Why are dinosaurs so cool? And why can't I have a dinosaur patron in Scion? I need to make that happen. I guess dragons technically could fulfill that for me. Watch party. I mean, you can do watch parties on Twitch. I don't know if Jurassic Park's allowed. I do keep meaning just rewatched it, so good. Yeah, I have it. It's like 7 feet that way. Maybe 8. Just points off camera, you can't see where I'm pointing. Going to be watching that later, but we have Black Panther to watch later. Anyway, that's by the by. Does anyone have any questions for me before I switch over to the post roll and like the schedule for next week and stuff? I've got to stop leaning back in my computer chair because it makes my head look really far away from the camera. I can't answer questions about the next couple of classes because Scout Hunter I have zero idea for. The Rogue, I have some ideas for, but I'm very aware I should probably stay away from the Scout roguish archetype. Wilderness Origin just sounded cool. I also need to do what's the speed velocity of an unladen swallow? African or European? And then Warlock, Scarab Patron, and Wizard. This is going to be changed. It's not going to be Weather Tradition. It's going to be like Meteoromancy or something. If I can figure out the correct stems, word stems. Need some narrative. Although Scarab Patron, I'm pretty sure will be... you don't know? Off the bridge with you. Scarab Patron, I'm reasonably sure will be... someone who has been implanted with a Scarai larva, but it hasn't matured. Like, they haven't been transformed into Scarai. They've just kind of absorbed the Scarai itself in their body somehow. I don't know. And I might kind of be like, hey, that puts them into contact with some sort of Scarai force that is just like pure survival. And that's what the Patron actually is. It's the coolest idea ever for a Warlock. Well, I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, and as I say, Wizard, I'm thinking for Wizard, less the narrative, because, I mean, controlling weather is pretty obvious in an Arctic continent, but less narrative, but probably like the second level feature is when you cast a spell first level or higher, an area of effect happens around you based on one of 3 things. And I'm thinking, this is obviously not in stone, but I want to vocalize this so I'll remember it later. I'm thinking you can choose to have a gust of wind push creatures within 5 feet of you prone, strength save. Rumble of thunder push them back 10 feet, strength save. Or a lightning bolt that does damage equal to 1d6 times the spell level. Again, this is all very much germination process of ideas. But I thought that would be cool. And also it gives the wizard a tiny bit of survivability when surrounded. Because I want to step away from the evocation wizard in the... I think the evocation wizard is the SRD wizard. And the... where is it? yeah, like I'm not going to use anything like battlefield magic from the Battle Mage and the Scarred Lands Player's Guide. Like, your magic is going to affect everyone with evocation spells, perhaps to their detriment. Anyway, so that's the two ideas I have. I have nothing for the sorcerer, nothing for the rogue, and as I say, the range is going to be some sort of psychic scavenger. But we'll get there. Anyway, I'll be in chat for a couple of minutes as the post-roll rolls, but thank you all for watching, really appreciate it. The show would not exist without that community. Geomancy is always fun, alter the battlefield to your preferences. Yeah, that was my... I did post on the Honest Path Discord and the Scarred Lands channel, like, do you want a Cryomancer? Because that's essentially Geomancy in Fenrilic anyway, or a Weather Worker, and the answer was Weather Worker, but I always have Geomancy ideas because I love using environments, and I can always tie battlefield manipulation into the wizard anyway, into that subclass anyway. As I did like battlefield stuff up here with the fighter. Anyway, see you all on the 16th. The show couldn't exist without the community, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. Hopefully you found it mildly entertaining, interesting, thought-provoking, or helpful, or any combination of the above. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. Please do stick around if you're curious about what's coming up on the channel. As all of that information is provided in the post-roll through sweet graphics, and also, for those of you who prefer a text schedule, that is there also. But from me, for this week at least, thank you. I'll be streaming on my own channel about half an hour if you have any questions, not related to Honest Path stuff, but still want to chat. Yeah, see you around. Stay safe, stay healthy, and please do stay wholesome.